You might think that chefs are out here having crazy dinners all the time. But the truth is, after a long shift, all I wanted to do was to eat some 2-minute noodles and crash on the couch. And sometimes I wouldn't even bother cooking them. I'd just eat them raw, straight from the packet. Working in professional kitchens did teach me some tips and tricks to make your weeknight cooking absolutely delicious while keeping things super easy and with barely any washing up. So here's 5 15-minute meals for one for when you really can't be. First up, we have how I actually eat packet noodles most of the time at home. And the reason I love this is because it's cheap. Most of the time I have everything in my house, even if I've been away or, because this is the only fresh thing that you'll need. And I always have a couple of these hanging around. And if you don't have them, you can just leave them out. First things first, frozen dumplings. You can make them. Honestly, at home, I just buy them. Into boiling water, leave it for a couple of minutes. Hot tip, make sure you stir your dumplings. It sounds weird, but sometimes they might stick to the bottom. Now, packet ramen, not sponsored. This is my favorite brand. I like it. Pull it all out. Take all the packets and add that to your boiling water. You're effectively making a soup or a broth at this point. Stir that through. Now add your noodles to the top and just let them do their thing. In the meantime, take your spring onions and finely cut them. You're gonna leave the white part and the green part separately. I actually like to leave the white part a bit thicker, just for a bit of texture. And then the green part will finely slice. Once your noodles start to soften, start stirring them so they break up nicely. Then the secret ingredient, peanut butter. Every time I put peanut butter in noodles, people lose their mind, in a good way. Just adds a really nice thickness and viscosity to your broth. Also, who doesn't like peanut butter? Sorry to my homies who can't eat peanuts. You're missing out. Add the spring onion white, stir that around. Basically, once your noodles are cooked and your dumplings are hot all the way through, you are good to serve. Hasn't even been 5 minutes. Time to plate. And honestly, I just usually just pour the whole thing out, but since we're doing this whole YouTube thing, I'll put a bit of effort into plating this nicely. Noodles down first. We will arrange our dumplings in a nice fashion. Broth over the top. All the veggies, spring onion greens, and of course, chili crisp. Here we go. Dinner in 5 minutes. The only thing you gotta clean up, 2 spoons, a knife, and a pot. How simple is that? All right, this is a bowl of comfort food for me. Always start with the dumpling. It's yum, it's rich, it's comforting. It covers most of the major food groups, and it's super easy to make. Nothing wrong with this at all. Whoever invented the instant noodle, I salute you. Salute. I like burgers, I really do. Big fan, always have been. If I'm making a burger and I'm by myself, this is what I make, the Paddy Melt. I do things a bit differently because I only want to use one pan. So I have a carbon steel or a cast iron pan here, but you could do this in a stainless steel pan as well. So I currently have it on a high heat just to warm up, and I'm going to turn it down to a medium heat. I like this thick cut bread, Texas style toast here, but any kind of, you want white bread. Don't try and use wholemeal bread. You're kind of missing the point. First things first, we're going to toast our bread. Seems kind of weird, but that's what we're going to do. Get some butter in your pan and get your bread in there.
That's so weird.
Caleb, it's weird because of the order you're doing this in, my friend, not because of toasting the bread. You smartass. Okay, so we're going to toast our bread on both sides reasonably well. While that's happening, I'm going to slice up half a brown onion or a sweet onion, depending where you are in the world. Then I have some beef mince. I've got a pretty high fat ratio beef mince here. If you wanted it a little bit leaner, you absolutely could, but fat is flavor. Right, bread's out, in with some oil and some more butter and the onions that we just cut up. Pinch of salt. Let those caramelize nicely. You want to do it fast because we've only got 15 minutes. You do it quite hot, just keep an eye on it, keep them moving. While that's happening, we're going to make a sauce. So I have some mayonnaise, some chipotle and adobo. So here I have some garlic powder, mustard powder, black pepper, white pepper, and MSG going in. I also have just some straight white distilled vinegar, and that goes, give it a mix. But you can kind of go crazy here with this. If you don't have chipotle and adobo, you can just use a little bit of chili flake. You could do a classic burger sauce, so mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup, smoked paprika, but I like the little adobo. I think it works really well. Leave that to the side. Onions are looking close. I'm a little bit darker. While that's happening, we can get our beef mince just into balls. We're gonna do a double patty. Now the good thing is they don't need to be round, these ones, because we don't have round bread. I don't know why that's a good thing. It's a thing. Now, because we are trying to save dishes, because that's what I do when I'm eating by myself. Onions go straight on the bread. There's a little bit of fat there. Just leave it in the pan. Okay, pan back on a high heat. Now we season the pan. In go our balls, a bit more salt. Just give them like 30 seconds before you smash them. All right, time to smash. Now, because we're kind of doing this in a pan that's probably a bit small for what we're doing, just take your time. You can do one then the other. We're not doing like proper smash burgers, so they don't need to be super lacy, but you do want them big enough that they're gonna fill the bread. If you don't have a burger smasher, you can just make those into big flat patties and put them straight in the pan. Give them a flip through, cheese on the top, let that melt from the residual heat, sauce up the other side of our bread. There we go, over she goes. You can cut a Paddy Melt, it's not like a burger. It's delicious, there's nothing more to add. All the major food groups, protein, carbohydrate, fiber. Okay, this is one of those dishes when sometimes you explain to people, they maybe struggle with it a little bit, but honestly, it's super delicious and it's really easy to pull together. Not heaps of fresh ingredients needed either. And again, a method that I genuinely use at home all the time because it's only one pan. Is it technically correct? Maybe not, but is it delicious and requires few dishes? Absolutely. Take a large stainless steel pan like this and fill it like half full or a third full with water, bring it to a simmer. Because what we're making is like spaghetti with tuna, chili, and garlic. So first things first is we're gonna cook our pasta. This dish will take as long as the pasta takes to cook basically. Season your water and then add your spaghetti. One of the good things about using just a little amount of pasta water is it becomes super, super starchy. So at this point, it's like, oh, your pasta's not all fitting in. Don't worry, it's gonna relax very quickly and it's gonna, cook in there fine. Chili, now you can use as much or as little as you want. For one portion, I usually use a whole one, but these are kind of big, so call me a wussy in the comments. I'm actually only going to use a half. So I like to cut it into quarters first and then finally slice it. Leave the seeds in, take them out if you don't like it spicy. And if you don't have fresh chili, some chili flakes will work just as well. I actually kind of more so like the fresh chili because I think it just adds like a nice little pop of red. And even if you're cooking for yourself, making sure the food looks appealing is important. 1 clove of garlic, just crush it and run your knife through it. Okay, that's gonna go in the pan together. I have a tin of tuna and olive oil. Just gonna open that. You're gonna drain some of the oil off, but don't stress, you don't have to get it all off.
Just pouring it on the floor.
Yeah, Jackson will get that. I've got some capers, optional, but I think are delicious. Some flat leaf parsley for right at the end. We're just gonna really roughly chiffonade this. And then I have a lemon. That sounded so weird. And I have a lemon. Very proud of my lemon. We're going to use the zest and the juice, so don't cut it just yet. So once your pasta is cooked to how you like it, I like it very al dente, but cook it a bit more if you don't. What you're going to do is you're going to pull it out like this, and we're going to put it into our plate that we're going to serve into. This is all in the name of saving dishes, but it works, trust me. Don't need to stress about it being like 100% drained too. A little bit of water will help it from not sticking together. Then take the really starchy liquid and pour that into, oh, you don't need all of it, but at least half of it into a container. Ditch the rest. Pan back on the heat and add a good couple of tablespoons of really nice olive oil. I always say really nice olive oil. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean a good extra virgin olive oil that suits your budget. The better it is, the more expensive it is, like most things in life. Like a good quality extra virgin olive oil will do fine. The reason you want a good quality is it's quite a big flavor profile in a dish like this. You're gonna taste the oil. So if you use a lower quality one, or just like a straight olive oil, it doesn't taste very good. Let that get a bit of heat in it. Doesn't need to be really, really hot. Then we're gonna add our garlic and chili. We're just gonna saute that for 30 seconds. Just trying to break down some of those harsh notes. Just a small pinch of salt, a bit more olive oil if you think it needs it. Probably needs more than you think. And we're gonna add a tin of tuna. Try not to break it up too much. You want some nice chunks in there if you can. Now, really important at this point that there is a decent amount of oil in this pan, because what we're gonna do next is add our pasta. And if there's not enough oil in it, your pasta's gonna stick. So add our pasta back. Now our plate is warm as well, which is a bonus. Add our capers, stir it through, and then our starchy pasta water. Just add about 1/4 cup. We're gonna start tossing. And to get a nice toss, what you need is a nice pan with a nice deep curved lip, just like this pan from Maiden. They The handle is super easy to hold and it makes the pan feel really balanced. And when you're cooking, the nice thick base holds heat really well, so when you add ingredients, you don't lose that sizzle. Maiden's award-winning cookware has no coatings, which means zero chemicals or metals getting into your food. You can put the entire pan in the oven and it holds up, which is perfect for things like finishing chicken breasts, pan-fried fish, or baked eggs. The thick base and the 5-ply stainless steel makes it a professional quality pan that's perfect for the home cook. Made in the USA and Italy and used by professional chefs in the world's best kitchens. These pans are unreal. Go check out the Stainless collection and Maiden's other cookware by using the link in my description and save on your order. Let's get back to that pasta. If you need some more water, get it in there. You want the water to start building a sauce. Look how thick that is. It almost looks like it's like a creamy based sauce. All right, heat off, lemon zest and juice. So I'm gonna use that whole lemon, but just use your judgment. You want start with around a tablespoon of juice. Some fresh parsley in there. All right, time to serve. Gotta make sure you get all these bits from the bottom. It's where all the good stuff is. Stunning. 15 minutes and a delicious bowl of pasta with hardly any dishes. Fresh, it's light. It's also kind of like filling and hearty at the same time. Delicious. Okay, Japanese gyudon. What is it? It's a kind of I guess the best way to describe it is like a stewed beef and onion dish, but it comes together really, really quickly. So for this dish, I like to use the ends of my steaks. I cut up my own steaks and the end pieces I save for this dish. However, I understand that's a bit of an obscure kind of thing to talk about. Not everyone cuts up 5 kilo pieces of beef. So if you don't have access to that, any lean, kind of economical beef will work fine. Slice it thin, it'll be fine, no problem at all. The other key ingredient, onion, and lots of onion. It'll cook down and be delicious. First things first, we need a soft boiled egg. So I've got some boiling water. Now you could do this in the same pot, but in the interest of time, I'm gonna do it in this pot. I'm gonna cook this for 6 minutes. And I've cracked my egg, so who knows how that's gonna cook, but let's see. For the gyudon itself, I have about just over 100 mils of water there. And to that, it's gonna boil in a second. I am gonna add dashi powder. This is like packet soup mix in Japan. You can make your own dashi. If you make your own dashi, fantastic. That's not what this video is about. So add your dashi powder to that, just 1 packet, and let that come to a simmer. You can also add the rest of the ingredients. So we have mirin, sake, and soy sauce. And then to that, I'm gonna finely grate 1 clove of garlic and a small piece of ginger. And little secret, sometimes when I'm at home, I don't even peel my ginger. I just wash it. Come at me. Okay. We just want that to simmer very, very slightly. So I'm gonna turn that right down. And while that's happening, I'm gonna slice this whole onion. So the other thing that I will be truthful about, this thing is called dinner in 15 minutes. The truth is you serve this with rice, which is not possibly cooked in 15 minutes. But you know, most people have a rice cooker. Put your rice cooker on, carry on with your night, and then come back and cook this. Okay, onion in. Looks like a lot of onion, don't worry, it'll cook down. Okay, we don't need any salt in this either at this point because of the dashi powder. Now, you can buy this beef already sliced. You can find it in supermarkets all the time. I'm gonna move this over so you can see what I'm doing. But we're just gonna slice this beef nice and thin against the grain. It's actually quite a lot of steak for this dish for 1 person, but I like my beef. Generally, for this dish, I'll usually eat about 150 or 180 grams of beef. This is probably more like 220-ish. Slice a couple of spring onions, put that on the side. Egg is done. Put that in some cold water. We don't need it to be like cold, but if you shock it into cold water, it will help the skin come off. The skin? The egg shell come off, I should say. All right, time to peel the egg. Just while we're waiting for those onions to cook, I like to do it under water. Once your onions are nice and soft, add your beef. Stir it through, and we're just trying to kind of poach the beef here, which might feel very obscure to my, Western fans. But poaching meat is a fantastic way to really gently cook meat without it overcooking. If it's starting to look a little bit dry, feel free just to add a little bit more water, and this won't take long. So if you've got really good quality beef, literally all you're trying to do is cook this beef a little bit and render a little bit of the fat, and that is good to go. All right, a little taste. Just needs a little bit of salt. I know it's got soy sauce in there, but does this need a little bit of salt in there? And that is good to go. Heat off. We're gonna add most of the spring onions, just save a few of the really top green bits, stir that through. Time to serve. Just get all that on there. all those delicious onions. Onions are full of vitamin C. They're actually really good for you too, and super cheap. Then we have our little soft boiled egg, lots of pink pickled ginger, the leftover green spring onions, and if you've got some hanging around, a few sesame seeds. There you go. This bowl on a winter's night, or even in the middle of summer, is absolutely delicious. I know it might seem kind of strange for a couple of people to kind of poach beef like that, but honestly try it and you won't be disappointed. All right, why do I love that word all right so much? Delicious. It's tender, full of umami, lovely sweetness from the mirin, really well balanced just from that dashi and soya sauce, a little bit of salt, and then the pickled ginger just to cut through it all. It's delicious. So easy and so good. One of my favorite meals that I make by myself is some version of fried rice. I think we all know by now, if you've been watching this channel, I love fried rice. This is kind of like a Thai version of fried rice. So there's a few components to it. We're gonna get ready with a few of them before we start cooking. Super important with fried rice. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna find a microplane, because for some reason, Jackson keeps hiding them from me. I don't know why. He just doesn't love me. Actually, don't worry about it. I don't need it. I don't need your microphone. First thing we're gonna make is a little dipping sauce. So I have some fish sauce here. I have a bird's eye chili, which I'm just gonna cut nice and fine. And that goes. Also gonna add the juice of a lime. And then just a little bit of sugar, just to balance everything out. That's our little dipping sauce made. Put that aside and forget about it until we are serving. So I have prawns here. So I buy my prawns for home because I'm a little bit lazy at home. I buy prawn that's peeled, deveined, but still raw. And I buy them frozen, and that way they're always in my freezer, and they take like literally an hour to defrost max. You can do it in like 10 minutes under running water, and it's a really good source, clean source of protein. They're not that expensive as well. For the amount of protein you get. So I have some of those defrosted, ready to go. I have some rice, leftover rice, cold rice from the day before, ready to go. I know it's 15-minute meals, and you might be like, I do hear a lot of people talk about using the packet rice for fried rice. I've never tried it, I don't really believe in it, but if you're in a pinch, you could do that too. I have a shallot, which we're going to deal with now. Literally just top and tail, cut in half, peel, and slice. I'm gonna slice long ways, if that makes sense. So from the top to the tail. I have 1 clove of garlic. I'm just gonna smash that, run my blade through it, and it's actually gonna go in the same time as the prawns. So I'm just gonna put it in with the prawns now. Choy sum. I had some choy sum lying around that has had better days. We're gonna not finely chiffonade, we're gonna roughly chiffonade the greens. They'll go in later. And then we will cut the stems into kind of about 1 centimeter battens. Then the only other thing I have, and which we're going to use as a garnish, is a bit of cucumber. Just some slices of fresh cucumber to use as a garnish. If you don't have a cucumber lying around, feel free to leave it out. To the wok. Okay, I've got a wok nice and hot. We're going to add a reasonable amount of neutral flavored oil. I like to use peanut. So first up, shallots in. It won't take long. We're going to get the choy sum stems in. Keep these moving around the pan. They will take a little bit to get a bit of heat into them. At this point, I do like to put a little pinch of salt. Just helps to break down those veggies a little bit. Garlic and prawns. So like most wok cooking on a domestic burner, the gas burners themselves aren't particularly hot, so try not to take your wok off the heat. If you do, you're just gonna drop temperature. It's not like a proper wok burner where the temperature will come back up really quickly, just because there's not enough power in these burners. So just try and use your spoon as opposed to lifting it off the heat. All right, once your prawns have been in there for about 30, 45 seconds, they're gonna start changing from translucent to like a light pink color or an orange color. Push everything to one side so you got a nice clear space. Add a little bit more oil and let the oil get hot. Crack your egg in there. Just leave it for a second, maybe break your yolk, then start stirring it through. All right, cold rice. A little bit of oyster sauce, white pepper, choy sum greens. How delicious does that look? Little fresh plate of fried rice, and I love the little dipping sauce on the side. But how does it taste? It's so good. It'd be really weird if I was like, oh, this is disgusting. It's like super fresh, and I think that helps from like, a good amount of veggies in there, and that little dipping sauce, which is really high in acid, just really helps cut through it all. This is one of my favorite types of fried rice ever. Legends, thank you so much for watching. I hope I've inspired you to, even if you're by yourself tonight, cook something instead of ordering something delivery. You'll feel better for it. It doesn't require heaps of effort or lots of dishes to kind of pull off something really tasty. Do me a favor, like this video if you've taken anything from it. And if you're not subscribed, then check us to subscribe. You won't regret it. It doesn't cost you anything. And we'll see you next week for another recipe, or story, or something. Peace. Come on, Duck. Let's go eat our lunch. So slow.